This conference will now be recorded.
All right. Let me move on into this. So, welcome to our first, not the way I wanted this to look. There we go. So, welcome to our first, summer update. So, kind of as we are going through crazy, hectic times right now, and with all of the changes that we're seeing, I just want to make sure that I can keep you all updated as I learn information, but also to kind of start the, I guess, quote unquote, bonding process. That's a very weird thing to say, but this summer is going to be really weird. So I know all of you individually, but my name is Heather Satterley. I'm the AmeriCorps director for the City of Dubuque's AmeriCorps program. I've been the director here for Dubuque for 2 years. I managed another AmeriCorps program for 3 years, and then I served as an AmeriCorps member for 3 years. So for me, AmeriCorps is a really important thing. And as part of that is the experience. I had an amazing AmeriCorps experience. Had I not done it, I wouldn't be here. And so for me, just the being able to create a good experience for everyone is one of my top priorities. So that's why I say that bonding experience, because it's not necessarily like it's creating a good relationship between myself and all of you, but also a relationship between all of you with each other and that relationship to your service. I don't, virtually is going to be a little difficult, but first off, I want to make sure that you all know that I am available to you before you get started and after you get started, as well as during. This is a crazy time. It's stressful. So I am always available. I'm an email away. I'm a phone call away. I'm a text away. Whatever I can do to answer questions, to make you feel better about what's going on right now and for the summer. That's what I'm here for, and I'm available to all of you. So, don't hesitate to reach out. We're gonna make it through this. We're all gonna be here together, and moving forward. Unless people are not comfortable with it, I will be sharing out people's contact information, in that general email. So if any of you would like to, start group chats together, or things like that, just to kind of, get to know each other before this starts. Typically in like our first weeks, we do, we would usually go to 4 mounds, things like that. I don't foresee that happening this year. So just an opportunity for you all to get to know each other. So if before we get started, if people would like, we can do a quick get to know you option for those on the call. So yeah, is that an interest for anyone?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right.
Ooh.
Joanna, you want to kick us off then?
Yeah. Do you have anything specific that you need?
No, if you just want to say, your name, um, where you're going to school, and your reason for wanting to do AmeriCorps-ish or something like that.
Yeah. So I'm Joanna Dillon. I'm finishing up my last year at Loris, so I'm getting internship credit for AmeriCorps. But I really just like community, and I've done several internships within the Dubuque community, but also working with youth in a community on the south side of Chicago. And I just love that aspect of working with young people and just being a positive role model for those people. So that's kind of what really drew me to AmeriCorps.
Great, thank you. Lauren, do you want to go next?
Sure.
I'm Lauren. I am going to be a junior at Loris. I'm studying social work and sociology, and I grew up in the Dubuque community. I've been here my whole life. So I guess I've always been drawn to this community. I kind of know people a little bit everywhere, so just more opportunities to be involved, and I'm always looking for those service opportunities. So that's kind of what drew me into AmeriCorps.
Great, thanks, Lauren. Renee, you want to go?
Yeah, my name's Renee Redman. I just finished my last year at Iowa State University, and this fall I'll be going to Drake University for my law degree. And then I've been with AmeriCorps for 2 years now. I worked in the playground program, and then last summer I worked at St. Mark's. So I really like AmeriCorps. I like getting out in the community of Dubuque. So yeah.
Thanks, Renee. Carissa?
Yeah, hi, my name's Carissa Brown. I just finished up my junior year at the University of Dubuque. And what drew me to AmeriCorps was I, like everyone else has said, working with the community, but I've worked with kids in the past, and it's been the most fun and the most enjoyable job I've had, and then being able to shape the futures of the younger generation.
Great, thanks, Carissa. Gracie?
Hi, I'm Gracie. I just finished my first year at St. Ambrose. I'm a nursing major, and this is my second year with AmeriCorps. I was in the schools last year, and I really didn't know what I was getting into, but now I can't stay away, and I really love hanging out with the kids and helping them grow.
Thanks, Gracie. Leah?
Hi guys, I'm Leah, and I just finished my first year of my master's at Loris College for school counseling. So, and I've done AmeriCorps. I did St. Mark one summer with AmeriCorps, and I just did in the schools for literacy and stuff. So I really love AmeriCorps, and I love you, Heather, and I look forward to this summer working with kids at the multicultural family center. We'll see what happens with that though. So.
Yeah, and we'll kind of talk a little bit about what's going on, but thanks, Leah. I love you too. Love you all. It is really exciting to see, this summer is going to be weird. And, I will say that with this, I am so excited for the group of people who are going to start. We have a lot of returners, but we have a lot of new people too who, when applying, you hear about all these programs and things like that, and then this happens and I kind of spring, hey, everything's going to be totally different, and you may not go where we anticipated you to go, and we may not do any of those things, but people just kind of saying, I want to do this and I want to try, and we'll make that effort. So I have a lot of excitement for this summer, and a lot of in a way, just pride, and I really look forward to getting to serve with such a great group of people who are willing to jump into this craziness to make that impact and to work with the kids for the summer. So thank you all for being here and for sticking with us for the summer. I know it can't be easy with all of the stuff, but just know that I'm going to do the best that I can to make this a good experience for you. So first off, I am going to cover the dates. So from the email that I sent you all last week, you have seen that I have pushed back the AmeriCorps member start date from June 1st to Monday, June 15th. There's a couple of reasons for that. First off, I'm not prepared. I'm not prepared to start people. We're working on our safety plans and our reintegration plans, and the fact that it being 2 weeks away and I still can't enter my office, I had a lot of just nervousness of that. So, I needed a little bit more time to be able to make some adjustments and things like that, but also to make sure that we have everything in place to be able to start everyone safely. And I just felt like, you know, being 2 weeks away, that a lot of us, not just myself, but you know, program partners, things like that, you know, still waiting on guidelines from CDC, from the state, from all of these things. It just, I didn't feel like I had enough information to have us ready by June 1st. The other piece of that too is that a lot of programs, our program partners, have canceled for June or delayed later into June, which pretty much everyone was. So it just kind of became, to me, it seemed like a better decision to do that instead of having everyone kind of wait around and you know, people moving around and going to like food pantries, but that not be your main site, and having to coordinate a lot of things that are a little bit unknowing. So I didn't want to do that to all of you. And, you know, just again, didn't feel prepared. So, but I do plan to keep us at the same end date, being Saturday, August 8th. That could, you know, between now and June 1st, maybe that will change. I don't think it will. I don't want to push us off later into August because I don't know when the school district is planning on starting school for the next year. So they can start as early as August 1st in Iowa instead of, I believe, August 23rd is the usual date. I have not heard from the school district on whether or not they intend to do that, but I also don't want to assume that they won't, and then all of a sudden, you know, programs, you know, halt because school starts. So that would just be a little, you know, it's the danger of not knowing. So I'm really just trying to planning for the worst, hoping for the best. That's kind of my mantra for this summer. So moving into orientation dates, I am going to conduct AmeriCorps orientation on June 15th, June 16th, and June 17th. They will all be from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. And I am going to conduct them virtually. The reason to conduct them virtually is that right now Iowa still has the limitation of 10 you know, 10 people within a group. We have a larger group than that by a little bit. I didn't want to do several, you know, sessions of this. For those of you returning, you know that it ends up being me talking for hours and hours and hours. So having to do that multiple times, I actually don't know if I could talk that much, which may surprise some of you, but I don't know if I could physically continue talking. The other piece is that just safety. You know, these things can be done virtually. I can go over all of that information. I can get signatures and documentation from you all safely and all done virtually. So it just doesn't make sense to me to put anyone at an unnecessary risk, you know, to group people together than just doing it virtually. So right now I am scheduling on 15th, 16th, and 17th. I am going to say tentatively on the 18th and 19th that we may also run training on that, only because, so I'm on the 18th and 19th, one of those may be in person, just depends. You know, we may have to do some sort of like sanitation training, things like that. So those are just things that I wanted to hold those 2 dates as potential training times, or just kind of block them off in your schedule so I can make sure to, you know, that I can cover the things that I need to cover for this summer. We will go over the main AmeriCorps training as usual, where we'll do the member service agreement, which is your contract. We go through all of the stipulations of that, what it means. We basically go through it so I can take the AmeriCorps jargon and translate that into, you know, proper human language for all of you. We go through codes of conduct, expectations, all of that stuff. We train on the AmeriCorps timesheets. So kind of all of that general stuff that you expect whenever you start most jobs. But with that, we will also cover the adverse childhood experiences. So we will go over ACEs. Summertime is and especially this summer, we're all going through a traumatic experience. And so that is likely going to lead to some behaviors in your kids or different coping mechanisms, just different things going on for these students. And we may see things related to hunger and poverty that we may have not seen previously. So wanting to make sure that we're preparing all of you to essentially triage those situations that you may encounter, so that we can, help the kids the best we can. We will also just discuss equity, diversity, and inclusion. For those of you who have been in the program before, it is maybe not as intensive as it usually would be because it'll be done virtually. But for new members, we will go over how equity, diversity, and inclusion is just a really important piece of working in a community, working with children especially, so we'll discuss all of those as well. And then I anticipate having everyone start with their service sites on June 22nd. That's kind of the dates and times, or the dates that all make sense about when most programs will start. So yeah. Moving into questions about the living allowance and the education award. So the total amounts for the living allowance and education award has not changed. So the total living allowance is $2,470, and the education award is that $1,311.11. So those still remain the same. The change that you will see from us moving from 10 weeks to 8 weeks is that instead of 5 payments of like $400 and something, you will instead see 4 payments of $617.50. And I did pull out the pay dates, so you can expect to receive that on July 3rd, July 17th, July 31st, and August 14th. And that's if we, still end on August 8th, which I anticipate us remaining at that, just in case school starts a little earlier. So those are the adjustments that you'll see. Again, please remember that the living allowance is taxable, so that's $617.50. That will have taxes taken out of that. And I will be sending all of your tax documents virtually. I'm working with our IT department to create like an encrypted link to make sure that that information, can be transferred safely. So moving into, we had some questions on member and program safety to ensure that people will be safe this summer. I want to make sure that your safety is my #1 priority. So that is something that I'm going to take very seriously. And I want to make sure that I'm doing as much as possible to keep you all safe this summer. So right now we are drafting our policies and procedures and working on putting those into place. I'm trying to work within all partners to make sure that what we're doing is that it makes sense for all of us, but it's going to be streamlined and that they will meet the expectations that I will put in place for the AmeriCorps members. So a couple of things that we will be doing, so masks. So masks will be required to be worn by all AmeriCorps members, and at service sites, the city is requiring all masks be worn by all staff. So we can't mandate that participants wear it. So those are conversations that we're still trying to figure out and trying to talk about, you know, and see what we can and can't require. But masks, as far as staff and AmeriCorps members, will be required. All of you will be given 5 reusable masks. So basically Monday through Friday, I don't want any of you to have to worry about, you know, having, if you live somewhere and you don't have laundry on site, that you don't have to, you know, stress out about that. So you'll have 5 masks that you can wear, or that you'll be given, that'll be reusable and washable and all of that. I am going to also issue everyone 5 AmeriCorps t-shirts, so that you do not have to, again, worry about laundering between dates. You know, I don't want anyone to hesitate about having to, like, you know, rewear clothes that maybe they were out in the community in. We will also be looking at having temperature monitoring stations. So for example, where my offices are at, anyone who comes in, like for staff, so when I'm allowed to re-enter my office, as soon as I come in, there'll be hand sanitizer as soon as I walk through that door, and then I immediately will have to check my temperature with a forehead monitoring temperature thermometer thing. I don't know what the exact words are for that, but that'll be documented. We are discussing for all program sites that, like for example, at the Multicultural Family Center, that, you know, any program participants who come in, that we will, you know, check their temperatures as well. You know, we're discussing that across the city, even with pools, things like that. That basically, once you, if you want to come in through the threshold, that we will check your temperature, and if the temperature is elevated, we will send you home, or we won't admit people. So that is one thing. As AmeriCorps members, we will also expect you all to kind of self-monitor. So if you do not feel well, or if you have an elevated temperature, if you're somebody who's kind of checking yourself daily right now, like for me, I know my normal temperature now because I've checked it enough. So if you have an elevated temperature, to kind of self-monitor, and, you know, and just know that that is just an expectation that we'll have of you. Sanitation. So not just sanitizing things that you touch, but because we're going to be working with children, and especially young children, in good times, they're always sticky. And, you know, now we're really going to be taking a lot of time to clean up after the kids, really paying attention to trying not to share items between them without sanitation. So we will have sanitation requirements in place. So I know we all kind of expect that we'll be cleaning up a lot this summer, and I also expect to really, anywhere I go, to have a squirt bottle and a towel, cleaning all the time. So we will be doing that to just ensure safety for everyone, and not just ourselves. Group sizing as well. So we will be limiting group sizes. A lot of our program partners and programs are making huge adjustments to the programs they anticipate. St. Mark is looking at breaking up their groups of 20 into smaller groups, so they're trying to adjust for that. We're also, you know, Multicultural Family Center is going to reduce the amount of kids that participate in their programs. So we want to make sure that we're in safe group sizes. Anything that can be done outdoors will probably be done outdoors, just to ensure, you know, enough space, but also, you know, indoors isn't as safe necessarily. And contact tracing. So we want to know where people are going, you know, and when, so that in the case that, you know, how that looks exactly, we're going to figure out. But for example, since we're working on my office plan, we're trying not to have too many people cross each other's paths because it's such a small office. So, you know, if someone needs to come in for an AmeriCorps meeting with me or a one-on-one, like with your fingerprints, that we're going to be trying to trace and not have multiple people coming in at once, things like that. So just documenting where people are and when is going to be very important in case, you know, anyone were to come down with, you know, any symptoms. And the full policies and procedures, once they are out, they will be, or once they're completed and approved, we will issue them to everyone. So program activities. So that was some questions that we had. I will say this is an area that is continually evolving. So it's ultimately going to depend on what our program partners are planning on. We're going to see a big adjustment into virtual engagement. I'm working on, I'm going to try and equip everyone with technology for this summer. I know you all may have your own, but we may test out some new opportunities, you know, through virtual engagement that we may previously not have actually ever done, but we see that this is going to be a big thing in the future. So just know we're looking at ways to engage kids virtually through both enrichment and academically to try and meet the needs that the kids are really going to have. We do also expect that there's going to be an increase in hunger-related needs. We've seen that already for this year. So we may have people, you know, at food banks, or we may have people, you know, doing, you know, grab and go meal sites and preparations and things like that. So those are things that we will likely help out with, as well as sanitation. That's, you know, I think a given, very likely that we will be cleaning pretty consistently. Service site and schedules, that was another question that we had. So we anticipate adjusted schedules and implementation. That is still really to be determined. Most sites are running on kind of that Monday through Friday schedule. We know that the Multicultural Family Center STEP program is going to run. Their start and end dates, the schedule, and all of that, and even their curriculum is being changed pretty significantly. We expect kind of a hybrid in-person and virtual curriculum. So they're working on that right now. Currently, Stout Public Library will run, and they will shift to virtual programming. So whomever is placed there will expect to do a lot of, sorry, someone's mowing their lawn next to me now. So they're going to shift to that virtual programming, you know, running live events, recording activities, you know, lots of different things. And then at some point, they may do limited small group activities when that becomes safe. St. Mark Youth Enrichment will run. They're going to see a pretty significant group size adjustments. So again, making sure that the group sizes, which were typically like 20 kids and like 3 or 4 adults, and now we're going to see a big change in that. So, and then the Leisure Services Playground program will run, and that is going to see a significant adjustment to programming, to schedules. You know, they're still trying to figure out like what can we do safely that's still engaging these kids, still getting kids outdoors and active in the parks. We don't expect playground equipment to be available, unfortunately, but we want to make sure that we are doing something because unfortunately this playground program that we've had is one of the few things that children can do in the community that are free. So we know this is going to be a really big deal for our low-income families. The other piece of that too is that the playground program will run because there will be meal sites available. So it's going to be a a really significant and needed food place for people to get food, whether that's going to be grab and go sites or it's going to be in-person meal sites. We're not sure. Those are conversations that people are having. So that's kind of a more information to come sort of thing. A couple of things that aren't listed on here. Well, really, it's the teen night programs. We know that we need something for teens. I don't know exactly what that's going to look like. We're still trying to figure that out and how we can run that safely. We have a meeting and conversation tomorrow. But now more than ever, as with anything, teen programming is going to be so important. We know that that's a group that struggles with mental health anyways, because that's kind of the age range. Risk-taking behaviors is going to be a really big deal. So what we can do to engage these kids safely and in a meaningful way is going to be really important. So that's kind of that service site piece. As we learn information and people start to make kind of those final decisions, will be a really important piece. Before I go to questions, I want to bring up, so this is the CDC guidelines for youth programs and camps during COVID-19. So it's kind of a flow chart. So will reopening be consistent with applicable state and local orders? So as you know, Iowa has reopened. There are limitations. So that's group sizes, it's all of those different things. Protecting children and employees from higher risk for severe illness, which we do anticipate to do that in all of our sites. Screening children and employees upon arrival. So yes, we anticipate to do that. So according to the CDC, we can open, but there's going to be hygiene practices, hand washing, cloth face masks, cleaning and disinfecting and ventilation, social distancing, adjusted activities and procedures to limit sharing of activities, things like that, and training employees in health and safety protocols. So we anticipate that as well. Checking for signs and symptoms, enhanced screening, who have been present in areas of high transmission, encouraging people to stay home, planning for when people do get sick, communication and monitoring, of all people, contact tracing, things like that. So, these are things that we are going to take very seriously and move forward, and that, all camps and activities and things like that, like playground program, we're looking at getting hand washing stations at all locations. So, we're figuring things out as they come out. This guideline is going to be really helpful because I think it gives people a good starting point. And this just came out at the end of last week. So now that we have this, I think a lot of our program partners can begin to, make changes and adjustments and make those decisions that we need. So I guess now I will go ahead and open it up to any questions, or any of that. So anyone have any questions? You can either chat it or you can ask it. And then just as a reminder, if anyone's chatting anything, these are recorded, so you can always go back and watch them. I'll send out the slides as well as the recording, later today. And if you do have any questions, between now and like next Monday, you can always send them to me in an email. I can answer any individual related questions individually, but any kind of like overall questions, I will kind of add to this, these calls and things like that. So I don't see anything in chat. So if nobody has any questions, then I will, kind of say that we're probably at a stopping point. So, all right, I don't hear anything. So again, you all have my contact information, which I should have put up here again for all of you, but I will also send out in my email. If you don't have my phone number, I'll make sure it's in there, but it should be in my signature of any past emails. My office line does go directly to my cell phone, and my cell phone goes directly to me as well. So please know if you do have questions, comments, you need to talk, just reach out to me at any point in time, and I'm happy to help you in any way that I can. So with that, I will do this again next Monday at 10 a.m. I look forward to seeing, any of you who couldn't make it today there, but also any of you who are on the call today. Look forward to seeing you again. So I'll talk to you soon. Take care and stay safe. Thank you.
Thanks, Heather.